We welcome our Nigerian viewers and viewers across the world. This is Galaxy TV News. Let's get things started. President Muhammadu Buhari visits Imo State, assures of more federal government's presence in the state. Plus on the news, Lagos State House of Assembly passes value-added tax bill as well as a bill that prohibits open cattle grazing in the state. Outside Nigeria, some 200 people, including Americans, are expected to be airlifted out of Kabul in the first of such operations since the Taliban took over on 15 August. We have details in just a moment. And now, wherever you're watching from around the world, we are live from our headquarters here in Lagos, Nigeria. I am Kelly Egiga. On our first story, President Muhammadu Buhari has assured the people of Imo State of more federal government presence in that state. The president gave the assurances while commissioning projects by the Governor Hope Uzodinma-led administration in the state. The president, whose jet landed in the state, swiftly went round commissioning the project. Governor Uzodinma, while presenting arrays of projects done by him to the president, thanked Buhari for his prompt action towards the fight against insecurity in Imo State and the Southeast Zone.
I'm very impressed with what he has done because I have gone through the same problem at the center to make sure that infrastructure is what will enable the people to mind their own businesses. If there are no roads, if there is no security, what can people do? Absolutely nothing.
Because the poor state of the road turned it into a heaven for armed robbers. I recall vividly that on the day I flagged off the construction of this road, a woman broke down in tears of joy because the residents had lost all hope of seeing the road reconstructed after over 15 years.
Now, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mahmoud Abubakar, says the only way Nigerians can support farmers to continue to produce is by consuming their farm produce. Abubakar was speaking while receiving the handing over notes from the outgoing Minister, Mohammed Sabo Nanono, in Abuja on Thursday. He said patronizing Nigerian farmers will motivate them to produce more and ensure food sufficiency and boost the economy of the country.
So the same thing with agriculture. Even the people that will eat, buy Nigerian produce wherever you can. Because that is the only way we can support our own farmers so that they can continue to produce. And we just found out that, yes, we can do that. During the border closure, we had sufficient rice. Everybody eats. Even Mr. President in his house, he eats that same rice. I do. So there is no reason why we cannot patronize our own farmers.
The outgoing Minister, Mohammed Nanono, who has been in the ministry for 2 years, welcomed the new minister and urged him to continue from where he stopped in ensuring food security in the country. The former minister also advised workers in the ministry to cooperate with the new minister in achieving the ministry's mandate.
And everybody is looking up to this ministry. A small increase in price of food is Ministry of Agriculture. Flood is Ministry of Agriculture. Everything that you can think of is Ministry of Agriculture. Well, we accept that responsibility. But my hope is that one day, the Ministry of Agriculture will speak with one voice. Ministry of Agriculture is Ministry of Agriculture. It's Ministry of Agriculture. And we have to work to go towards speaking with one voice.
Recall that President Muhammadu Buhari redeployed former Minister of Environment Mohammed Abubakar to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development on the 1st of September 2021. And now to security. Unknown gunmen suspected to be bandits have reportedly invaded Sala Kedogo, a community in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State, and kidnapped two brothers. Our correspondent in that state gathered that the armed bandit invaded the community on Thursday morning at about 12:45 a.m. It was also gathered that the operation lasted a few hours, with the gunmen shooting sporadically before they went away with the victims. Confirming the attack to newsman in Kaduna, an eyewitness, Muhammad Rigachuku, said the two brothers were kidnapped in their home. He said there is no information of where the bandit took them to, and they have not demanded for ransom just yet. Now, in Lagos State, the House of Assembly on Thursday passed the value-added tax bill, with Speaker Mudashiru Obasa directing the acting clerk of the House, Olaleko Onofeko, to transmit a clean copy to Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu for assent. The House also passed the bill that prohibits open cattle grazing in Lagos State. The two bills were passed after a unanimous vote by the lawmakers at the sitting, where the bills were read for the third time. Immediately after their passage, Obasa commended his colleagues for their passion to see that the state continues to grow. The House had held separate public hearings on the bills on Wednesday, with stakeholders expressing support. In another twist, the Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria has asked the federal government to stop state governors from enacting the anti-global open grazing law. Magban Secretary General Sali Al-Hassan made the comments during a press conference in Abuja. He said the law would undermine the relative peace and stability currently enjoyed in the local communities, threaten the social order, and exacerbate cattle rustling. Professor Olanite Jimolau, Professor of Pasture, Agronomy and Forage Utilization from the Federal University of Agriculture, FUNAB, Abeokuta, joins us live on the news to get some perspective and analysis on this development. Thank you so much, Professor Olau, for agreeing to speak with Galaxy TV. Well, let's begin here in Lagos, where the State House of Assembly has only just passed the bill. I wonder how you're receiving this news.
Well, I think the news of the passage of the bill is a good news, actually, because it is long expected. And now that state governments are beginning to pass this bill, I think we need to commend them for doing so. Because if there must be a change in the way we do things, and we expecting things to change for the better, this is the starting point. And Lagos State is not the only one that has done this. I think one state had done it earlier. One or two states have done it earlier.
That should be all those states.
Other states to follow suit. Come again, please.
Yes, I was affirming that should be on those states very recently as well. But let me also ask you this question about, I mean, despite the deadlines set up by the southern governors, a good number of them are yet to sign the bill into law on open grazing. What do you make of this development? Because if the southern governors, about 17 of them, only 2 states have gone ahead to sign this bill. I wonder what your thoughts are.
They also have to take time in doing it. They can't be too hasty. You know, they have to consider so many things. If you listen to the secretary of Mieti Allah, he said if the bill is passed in a hurry, where do they expect the herders to put the animals? So there must be some arrangements, some alternatives created for these people to be able to, at least in the interim. You see, I had always said it that, yes, we need to stop open grazing, but it may be difficult to stop it just yet. Because this is an age-long practice. These people they are used to it. They have been on it since time memorial, and some challenges actually. And so, if some states are yet to do it. Maybe they are taking their time and they are weighing all the options and the alternatives that are going to be made available so as not to hurt the system so much.
Yes, Prof. Let me also engage your thoughts about the position of and request by Magban. Do you think that request is justifiable?
Definitely, that state governments should not pass such laws and that the National Assembly should rise up and prevent them from doing so. I don't think that's a good position. The state governments, as far as the law is concerned, have the right to pass laws that would make a good governance and would ensure the well-being of their people in their various states. So I don't think any group has the right under the law to say that state government should not make law that would ensure effective governance in their states and safety of their people. So if they call on the National Assembly to stop it, I don't know. That definitely is not likely to be possible. I'm not a lawyer. But under the law, I think the state governments and the state houses of assembly have the right to pass laws that they consider adequate for good governance in their various states.
All right.
So, and I don't see any group rising up against such a position and making a headway out of it.
Yes, so, Prof, just one final question. When you take a look at the body language from the federal government, I wonder what your advice would be to the government, especially at the center. Where do we go from here as a nation?
Well, we have always said that whatever we wish to do, you see, no matter how good, if the political will is not there to achieve what is meant to be achieved, we can't move forward. I think all along the federal government has been foot dragging on the issue of stopping open grazing, but it's not quite good for us. I think at this time of our development well, we live in a global world, in a global system, where we need to do things according to the way it is done in other places to be able to make progress. And so I believe that with the way it is going now, and federal government knowing fully well that the states have the right to make laws in their various states for good governance, for peace and tranquility, for the well-being of the people of the states that they govern. I do not see that. I don't see the federal government not supporting them. Maybe they thought initially they find a way around it, but I think with the way it is going now, the federal government may not have a choice but to support and to go ahead with the state government. So the federal government has not shown sufficient political will to achieve this for a very long time. And believe it or not, this has affected us tremendously. You see, the people that are actually doing open grazing, taking their animals all over the place and causing all the havocs and all that, their livelihood is also important. And I'm sure it is this, when we stop open grazing and we begin to rear animals the way they should be reared, their lives, it may be difficult initially. Of course, change is usually very difficult. But if it is started, everybody will enjoy it. The country will be better for it. Those people that are involved in cattle rearing will also be better for it because their livelihood will eventually improve, and all of us will be better for it. And in the Committee of Nations, all that we will not be different. We will do our own thing also. The way they do it in advance, develop countries, develop economies, develop agriculture, and then we will also be working very well with the global system that we are in.
Well, Professor, I guess that's a good place to anchor our conversation. Professor Olanite Jimoh-Lau, Professor of Pasture Agronomy and Forage Utilization from the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Funab. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Right, so there you go. You're watching the news on Galaxy TV. Let's take a breather and be back with more reports. Please stay with us. You're welcome back. You're watching the news on Galaxy TV. Now, for more updates and latest news, visit our website at www.galaxytvonline.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Galaxy TV Nigeria. You can follow or interact with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Official Galaxy TV. If you have breaking news around you, you can avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. Simply share a story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818 666 669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live update and comment. Now to court stories. The appeal court sitting in Abuja has ordered INEC to recognize Professor Charles Soludo as candidate of the All Progressive Grand Alliance APGA in the November 6 Anambra governorship polls. The three-member justices panel headed by President of the appeal court also declared Victor Onye national chairman of APGA. Justice Jumai Sankey, while delivering ruling on the appeal filed against Sylvester Eze Okenwa and 5 others, the court, in a unanimous decision, held that the appeal constituted an abuse of court process, having been bound by the decision of the Kano Division of Femin, Chief Oye as party chairman. The panel said it lacks jurisdiction to do what the panel by Chief Edoze Njoku and Chinedu seeking, as it cannot sit on appeal of its previous decision. The sum of 10 million naira was therefore awarded against the appellant in favor of Sylvester and All Progressive Grand Alliance APGA, who are the first and second respondent in the appeal. Let's stay with elections for a moment as the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC continued its stakeholders meeting Thursday to intimate Nigerians with innovations and plans to better Nigeria's electoral system. At a meeting of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security held in Abuja Thursday, Chairman of the Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, told the meeting that the Commission has improved on its electoral plans, particularly with the introduction of biomodal voters accreditation system. He told the committee that accreditation of voters will continue to be electronic and that the Commission will engage 25,000 ad hoc staff for the Anambra State gubernatorial polls. Professor Yakubu also informed the committee that INEC has recovered from the serial attacks at facilities across the country, but urged the security agencies to do more in the provision of security during elections.
The Commission intends to introduce new technology called the Biomodal Voter Accreditation System, BVAS, which has the ability for both fingerprint and facial biometric accreditation. Over the last 3 days, we have explained and demonstrated how the new device will work during the
National Security Advisor Major General Babagana Mugun, retired, who was represented by the Director of State Service, Sanusi Galadima, commended INEC for the various innovations introduced to improve Nigeria's electoral process. He said the government will not allow IPOB or any other militant group disrupt the forthcoming elections in Anambra State.
Of security threat occasioned by different dissident separatist groups in the southern regions of the country who are bent on scuttling effort of government in achieving national cohesion and undermining the democratic processes in the country. The federal government of Nigeria will not tolerate any group or persons planning to impede smooth conduct of elections.
And still talking elections, the leadership of the Action Alliance has accused the Independent National Electoral Commission of meddling into the internal affairs of the party at a peaceful rally organized by the party at the headquarters of INEC on Thursday. The party national chairman, Kenneth Odeze, called on the commission to recognize him as the substantive chairman of the party. Udeze and his members, who bore placards of different inscriptions, described the refusal of INEC to give effect to the findings and orders of court as travesty of justice.
can you explain a situation where INEC, who is supposed to be an unbiased umpire, is seen dealing and hobnobbing with opponents of our party National Executive Committee, openly in court and outside the court? This is travesty of justice. Please make this right. We have the video clips and their audio is audible enough for everyone to hear. It appears that this same INEC staff have accepted to be used by external forces, politicians from other parties, especially the APC.
And away from politics, 9 months after conditionally suspending its strike in December 2020, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, on Thursday, lashed out at the President Muhammadu Buhari administration for breaching the agreement it reached with the union. The Ibadan zone of the union reaffirmed this at the press conference held at the Ladoke Akintola University, addressed by the coordinator, Professor Oyebamiji Oyegoke. The Ibadan zone of ASU asked Nigeria to hold President Muhammadu Buhari responsible should the educational system be engulfed in another crisis based on the responsibility on the part of the government. Professor Oyegoke reaffirmed that the claims by the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, that the money allocated for revitalization of public universities had been paid as contained in the MOA of 2020 cannot be true. Let's shift our focus for a moment to Nigeria's economy as the Naira on Thursday continued its downward spiral, with the parallel market selling for 543 Naira to the dollar. And while grew the change, operators in Abuja bought dollars at 550 Naira. 40 Naira, rather, the British pound was sold for £1 at 740 Naira. The development comes 44 days after the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, barred sale of forex to all bureau de change operators across the country. On August 9, 2021, the managing director of Financial Derivatives Company Limited, Bismarck Rwani, said the Naira would rise in the parallel market towards 490 to 495 against the dollar in August and September. And now to other stories. 80% of Nigerians are linked to poverty and connected to injustice, which has further given birth to insecurity as witnessed in many parts of the country. This was disclosed by the president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, Mazi Sam Ohabunwa, during a chat with newsmen. While reflecting on the sorry state of the nation, he identifies failure of intelligence, lack of innovation and sabotage as major players for Nigeria's worsening insecurity situation.
What is happening in our country, first, is there is failure of intelligence, complete failure. 2, there's lack of innovation in carrying out duty. 3, a lack of understanding of the mix of tactics and strategies you need to arrest a situation that is almost akin to rebellion. What we're having in our country is not just mere insecurity, some form of rebellion. So what we need to do is first to dimension the problem. And the moment the problem is adequately dimensioned, which is like, is it lack of capability? Is it lack of resources? Is it lack of motivation? Or is there a complicity, somebody derelict on his assignment? Are there some sabotage, people inside who are the problems we're going to dimension between the time we start receiving security reports?
Now, the Nigerian politician and business executive, while advocating equity, fairness and justice, commended the use of electronic voting in the just concluded local government elections in Kaduna State. On the ongoing debate as regards ranching against open grazing, the New Nigeria Group rejected the idea of while highlighting the benefits of ranching in a contemporary society.
Because all the people who oppose electronic, with due regard, don't mean well for the country. They don't want a transparent election. They don't want a free and fair election. Look at a sign of free and fair election. El Rufai lost in his polling booth. Is it what? Yeah, lost. So can you believe that? Would it ever have happened if we don't try electronic? Because there's a consensus that open grazing is outmoded. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help the herders. It does not help those who consume the meat. Our cows don't produce enough milk just because they are put through much arduous task. The world has gone beyond where we move from one end to the other.
A former deputy director at the Department of Security Service, Adams Abu, has faulted the call made for Nigerians to bear arms to fight insecurity. Rather, he charged the federal government to recruit more people and train them on modern-day security training and techniques. He further stressed the need for Nigeria to equip all security agencies with modern-day equipment. Speaking in Accra, the Ondo State capital, the security expert said legalizing firearms by Nigerians will turn the country to a lawless society. He also tasked the Nigerian government to provide an enabling environment for the Nigerian police force to thrive.
Because like some people have advocated for individuals should arm themselves and begin to defend themselves. The negative effect of that is enormous. And I think what the federal government in particular should do now, they should intensify the recruitment and training of more security personnel across board in this country. Back them up with adequate equipment in terms of those that use arms and technology.
And now to other stories. A socio-political group, Okeogun Development Association in the Okeogun area of Oyo State, has alleged that Sheikh Ahmed's recent visit to Igbo in Orelope local government area of the state was an attempt to relocate fleeing terrorists that are being smoked out of northern parts of the country to the area. The national coordinator of the group, Otumba Biodu Fasasi, in a statement made available to newsmen on Thursday, said Gumi's visit was a secret move by Gumi and others with what he called, quote, Fulanization agenda to make Okeogun area another hotbed of crisis between the dwellers and the marauding Fulani herdsmen. The body related its allegations to a recent video of the Islamic scholar in which he is seen with Professor Usman Yusuf, a professor of oncology, on a visit to Igbo, with the claim that the visit was for the continued unity of Nigeria. Now, a video went viral recently where Sheikh Ahmed Gumi was seen with Professor Usman at Igbo with the message for Nigerian unity, as they proclaimed in the video that they observed Fulani people and natives doing their businesses in peace, while cows were grazing in their courtyards. Now, Nigerians, all levels of governments have been called upon to support the fight against any form of sexual violence in the country. This was revealed to newsmen during the formal notification ceremony of the Princess of Cornwall as the patron of Mirabel Center, which is the first Nigeria Sexual Assault Referral Center. The Chief Medical Director of LASUF, Adetokunbo Abanwo, and the British Deputy High Commission, Ben Llewellyn Jones, applauded the center for creating a safe space for victims of sexual assault to report and tell their stories, and that it is a collective work between the government and citizens to bring to an end the menace ravaging society. The Galaxy's Daniel Tanimo reports that Adetokunbo further said the center is built to educate and enlighten the people on the effect of all sorts of sexual violence.
The truth of the matter is that these nefarious activities will still go on. So we would need bodies like the Mirabel organization to provide the safety net, at least look after the health of the victims, and then ensure they get justice at the end of the day. It was mentioned about underreporting. That is one of the major problems in this society. People feel stigmatized if they've been victims of such activities. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to report. But we must continue to strive to ensure that we educate people about reporting, because without reporting, there may not be justice.
And what we hope, and what the Duchess hopes, is that her patronage will shine a light on these issues in Nigeria, and importantly, try and address these issues at source to try and prevent them, particularly by promoting the application of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, the Child Rights Act, and all the work that's done to educate, to socialise, and to show why prevention is so important. And then, in addition, to help with the very, very necessary and very difficult work that's done to support victims in this space.
Now, the founder of the center, Itoro Ezeanaba, noted that since the establishment of the center, more than 6,000 victims of all sorts of sexual violence have visited, mostly teenage girls and boys. Adding that the Sexual Assault Referral Center provides free medical and psycho-social support to survivors.
There were quite a number of young ones that were being abused in their homes by people that should actually be loving them and protecting them. We have had more than 6,000 clients that have come to the center to get help. I also want to appeal to community leaders, employers of labor, wherever you find yourself, wherever your sphere of influence is, ensure that there is a policy. Ensure that there's a policy that condemns rape, that you will not accept sexual harassment, that you will not accept domestic violence, that you will not accept rape in your organization.
Justice, doing justice, or getting justice for victims of sexual violence required a completely different approach to the way that traditional NGO work was being done, and also required a different approach from what was existing in terms of healthcare interventions, for people who had been victims or people who had survived sexual violence.
Now, the medical director of Federal Medical Center, Abeokuta, Professor Adewale Musa Olomu, has revealed that the proposed University of Medicine and Medical Services is going into partnership with foreign varsities towards the attainment of improved medical services. He made this known while speaking with newsmen upon his return to the center in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. Correspondent John Felix reports.
It's a carnival-like atmosphere here at the Federal Medical Center, Abeokuta, as the medical director returns to his desk following his reappointment by President Muhammadu Buhari. Received by members of staff, the medical director says his second coming will be greeted with more work towards delivering on his mandate of effective healthcare services. Speaking to newsmen, Professor Olomu says the University of Medicine and Medical Sciences, Abeokuta, approved and passed by the Senate, will be a world-class university that will endear many to the center as well as reduce medical tourism.
Our promise is to establish a world-class, #1, highly rated university. And if we want to do that, we don't want to localize our operational ability of the university to Egba alone, to Ogun alone, to Nigeria alone. We want to go outside the world to see what is happening as far as academia is concerned, and that's why we are collaborating with some university in the United Kingdom, in US, in Edinburgh, as well as Sheffield. By the special grace of God, everything will manifest when the university is established. And this will give our products the opportunity to be marketable anywhere in the world in terms of medical services. We know we say health is wealth. So we want our products to be marketable, to be acceptable to the world, and that's why we are doing this. And by the special grace of God, you will see when we establish. And I can tell you that a number of applicants that will be coming to FMC University will be greater than any university in the country, because we are trying to establish a world-class university.
Speaking further, the MD says his expectation is to take the center to laudable heights. He says more departments will be accredited towards ensuring that the public gets the best of care.
They should expect that we will be moving at higher tempo this time around to have other programs or specialty accredited. We have established neurosurgical units, and our neurosurgeons, they have done a lot of surgeries that either from congenital abnormalities, malignancies in the brain, or through trauma, accidents. You know, we have a lot of road traffic accidents nowadays from motorcar riders and all these road users, and they have been doing quite a lot. Instead of referring these patients to UCH or LUTH, we thank God that we've been able to establish them and they are doing well. The same thing with our cardiothoracic unit. They have been doing quite wonderful. We have an open heart surgeon and they have been doing well. So whatever you are going to do in UK, in China, in India, everything is available at Federal Medical Center.
These medical officers, with great enthusiasm, restate commitment to work despite the ongoing resident doctor strike. From Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, John Felix reporting for Galaxy Television News.
You're watching the news on Galaxy TV. Let's take a moment and be back with more stories. Please stay with us. Well, good to have you back. You're watching the news on Galaxy TV. The National Directorate of Employment has solicited support and cooperation of state governors towards reducing the rate of unemployment in the country. The DG of NDE, Abubakar Nuhu Fipo, made the appeal in Ibadan shortly before he signed a memorandum of understanding MOU with the Oyo State government towards promoting youth employment in the state. Correspondent Kunojo reports that Fipo said the initiative was a desire to explore good avenues for creating decent job opportunities for the teeming unemployed youths in Oyo State. On his part, Governor Seyi Makinde was represented by the Executive Assistant on Human Capital Development, Idowu Ogedengbe, posited that as the nation is developing and catching up with other leading economies in the world, new industries are emerging, thereby leading the way towards creation of new jobs that haven't existed before.
It is my conviction that the partnership will be a shining example for other state governments across the Federation. The strategic importance of this initiative cannot be overemphasized, as it aims at creating massive and necessary pool of artisans skilled in needed trades for economic transformation of the state, as well as promotion of social inclusion among the poorest of the poor in the state and their country in general.
It is important to note that we live in a rapidly changing global economy which demands new ideas and skills to remain competitive. New technologies, processes, and opportunities are being introduced constantly. What this means then is that the kind of skills and trainings being provided by governments and development agencies must be reflective of the realities in the employment market and the workplace environments.
Let's stay in Oyo State for a moment, as the police command has presented checks to widows of deceased police officers who died in active service. Addressing the beneficiaries shortly before giving them the checks, the Commissioner of Police in that state, Ngozi Onodeko, ordered the contributions of the ex-servicemen. Correspondent Kunlojo reports that the Commissioner of Police maintained that no amount of money could equate the lives of the officers, but maintained that the Inspector General of Police decided to put smiles on the faces of those they left behind.
I want us to use this occasion to tell you people that they are not forgotten, that they are still in our thoughts, they are still in our prayers, and at the same time that we will not leave you people alone. So in line with his welfare policies, he has deemed it right that we should give out these checks to support, to help in taking care of those our loved ones left behind.
Now, the Commissioner of Police also promised that the command will continue to link up with the families, especially the children left behind by the deceased. One of the beneficiaries thanked the Commissioner of Police and other top officers of the command for their efforts, promising that they would make judicious use of the money.
So, you're not forgotten. This is just a piecemeal. But please, 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 use it wisely. Use it judiciously. Make sure that you use it in training the children.
Feel happy because of the Nigeria police. They call us that they gave us check. We should use it to take care of our children, to use it for business. So we want to thank them that they did not forget us.
You're watching the news on Galaxy TV. Let's switch gears for a moment and join our international decks for more stories.
Welcome to news from the international scene. Some 200 people, including Americans, are expected to be airlifted out of Kabul in the first such operation since the Taliban takeover on 15th of August. Charter flights are expected to start on Thursday, Qatari and U.S. sources say. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken urged help with evacuations during a recent visit to Qatar, which is reportedly involved in the operation. Hundreds of Afghan citizens who had helped the U.S. militaries were unable to get out in the last month's U.S. airlift. Around 100 U.S. citizens are estimated to remain in Afghanistan. The flights are the first to leave since the end of the rushed U.S. military-led evacuations finished at the end of August. More than 124,000 foreigners and Afghans fearful of Taliban retribution were flown out of the country. The Taliban have banned protests unless authorized by the Justice Ministry. But dozens of demonstrators chanting "We want freedom" gathered near the Pakistan embassy in Kabul, and Taliban gunmen opened fire to disperse them, protesters said. More demonstrations were reported in Pawan and Nimruz provinces. Another protest by women took place in Kapisa province, northeast of Kabul, local reports say. Sources confirm that several women have been arrested. It is our right to protest, said Asina from Kabul. Now that we know what the Taliban meant by their new cabinet, we will protest. They kept saying that women should wait till the Taliban announce their new cabinet, but there is no single woman in the cabinet. But Alazai from the southern province of Helmand called for other countries to recognize the Taliban government. She said if protests continue and the Taliban suppress them, the international community will not recognize the Taliban's new government and the people would suffer. Some women calling for the inclusion of female ministers in the government were reportedly beaten before the demonstrations were broken up. Moving on to Macedonia, at least 14 people have been killed in a fire at the makeshift hospital treating COVID-19 patients in North Macedonia. Footage shared on social media showed a building in flames and a thick cloud of black smoke billowing into the air near a main road in the city of Tetovo. Firefighters put out the blaze in less than an hour. Public prosecutors said 14 deaths have been confirmed. They said they were investigating whether they were victims as reported locally. This is a very sad day, Health Minister Venko Philippus wrote on Twitter, added that several patients had been urgently transported to a hospital in the capital's Skopje. Doctors are fighting for the lives of the injured, Mr. Philippus said. He described the fire as a terrible accident, but provided no further details. Tetovo's Deputy Fire Chief Sasu Trajewski said the fire spread rapidly inside the building after oxygen cylinders exploded. Footage showed flames bursting through the windows in the portable building that made up the modular hospital. Although his team reached the building quickly, it said a large amount of plastic meant the fire was intense, and it was not immediately clear how many people were being treated there at the time. The temporary facility was reportedly constructed last year to take care of people made seriously ill from the coronavirus. Oxygen cylinders have been blamed for a number of fires at hospitals treating coronavirus patients since the pandemic began. 10 people died in a fire at Gaziantep in Turkey last December, and a similar fire claimed 10 lives in Piatra Neamț in Romania in November 2020. Still on the international scene, U.S. police have arrested 3 people accused of stealing the identities of victims in the collapsed building that killed 98 people in Florida in June. The suspects face charges of multiple counts of identity theft, organized scheme of the fraud, and trafficking in credit cards. They are said to have made purchases worth tens of thousands of dollars on illegally obtained credit card. The 12-story Champlain Tower, south near Miami, collapsed on 21st June. One remaining section of the apartment block in Southside was demolished in early July over safety fears. The cause of the collapse is still being investigated. The 3 suspects have been named as Betsy Alexandra Cacho Medina, 30, Rodney Schutt, 38, and Kimberly Michelle Johnson, 34. The loss of 98 lives was and is still a painful tragedy. But for a group of alleged identity thieves, it was a time to make some money, said Miami-Dade State Attorney Catherine Fernandez Rondo. Using the credit card of 5 of the victims and 2 survivors, the suspects are believed to have bought luxury handbags, shoes, and other items worth tens of thousands of dollars, as well as making bank transfers. Police were alerted in early July by the sister of one of the victims when she realized that someone was tampering with alleged siblings' bank details. If convicted, the suspect faced between 15 and 30 years in prison. Lastly, on the international scene, state prosecutors in Nicaragua have ordered the arrest of award-winning novelist Sergio Ramirez. Mr. Ramirez, who won Spain's Cervantes Prize for Literature in 2017, is one of Nicaragua's foremost writers. He has been accused of inciting hatred and conspiring to destabilize Nicaragua. Thousands of influential Nicaraguans have already been detained on similar charges as part of a crackdown on critics of President Daniel Ortega. Among those detained are several presidential hopefuls, union leaders, and newspaper editors. The 78-year-old novelist who left Nicaragua in June responded deviantly to the arrest order issued against him. Writing on social media, he said words were his only weapon and that he would continue to use them to support freedom and democracy against dictatorship. Mr. Ramirez was once a close ally to President Ortega and served as his vice president during Mr. Ortega's first presidency from 1985 to 1990, but he broke away from the Ortega-led Sandinista party in 1995 in protest as what he said were Ortega's autocratic tendencies. He has been an outspoken critic of Mr. Ortega since then. In an interview with newsmen in July, he accused President Ortega of not having limits. His strategy is to remain in power at whatever cost. He said Mr. Ortega, who is expected to run for a 5th term in office in elections in November, prosecutors say Mr. Ramirez received money from the Violeta Barrios Chamorro Foundation as well as other cultural organizations, which is also accused of destabilizing Nicaragua. Critics of the government say the arrests are a deliberate strategy to thin out the field of presidential candidates ahead of November's election, but the government say it is taking decisive action against the enemies of Nicaragua, who they say are in the pay of the United States. And that's it from news from the international scene.
And now to wrap things off, let's join the entertainment desk for more stories.
Welcome to Entertainment News. Veteran singer Two-Face has for the first time reacted to his wife Annie Dibia and her family's messy fight with his family. The actress, her family member and her husband's siblings have had a heated exchange resulted in wild allegations last weekend. Two-Face spoke up about his wife was heard in an audio recording threatening to scatter everything. In the audio, she accused the singer of lying to her and reiterating that his family doesn't like her and have made her life hellish. Two-Face was now reacting to the messy fight, which has taken several turns in the last few days, stated that though bringing your personality issues to social media was not cool, he will, however, not sit back and watch everybody have a free-for-all battle in the name of love or solidarity. He urged everyone, including families and supporters, to respect their privacy and their kids as they deal with the issue internally. The singer also turned off the comment section of the Instagram post. Meanwhile, award-winning dancer Kafi has said that marriage is not an upgrade and that not all chemistry between adults should lead to the registry. The mom of two shared this thoughts on her Instagram page. Kafi averred that people's mindsets towards marriage have been wrongly conditioned over the years, either through motives, movies, media, culture and religion, but that this can be addressed if people fix their mindset towards marriage generally. Meanwhile, Big Brother Naija ex-housemate Tricky T takes a step many consider bold as it seems he had tied a knot with his partner. The register star took his Instagram page with photos of himself and his woman in what we can term a wedding outfit. If this is a wedding photo shoot, then it would be a big congratulations from all of us at Galaxy Television. And finally, on entertainment news, OAP Nedu's ex-wife Uzwamaka Ohiri has been invited by the police. Policemen attached to the State Criminal Investigation Department, PANTI, visited a house in a Ajah area of Lagos State on Tuesday evening, September 7, but she was not home. The security guard was then told to inform her to report as the STID. Why she was invited by the police is unclear at the moment. Uzwamaka and her ex-husband, Nedu, have made headlines after accusing each other of domestic violence and infidelity. And that'll be all on entertainment news.
And with that, we conclude our news at this time. But for more updates and latest news, visit our website at www.galaxytvonline.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Galaxy TV Nigeria. You can follow or interact with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Official Galaxy TV. If you have breaking news around you, you can avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp to share story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818 666 669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live update and comment. And that's your Galaxy TV News at this time. On behalf of the production team and everyone here, thank you so much for your company. We urge you to please keep safe. I am Kelly Egiga, and I'll see you again next time.